a delicious matchup, 12:30 on Saturday. A title 6-pointer between Brighton plus 250 and Arsenal plus 110. The draw here is plus 260. This game taking place on the South Coast. VJ, your Arsenal Gunners, they'll be traveling as a favorite. But I think that this number is a little too short on Arsenal. I like Brighton here. What about you?
Yeah, Look, I'm not going to bet against Arsenal. I generally do believe that Arsenal is a tad overvalued, maybe not as much as maybe you two think, but I actually like both teams to score no at plus 125. Arsenal, once again, put in a fantastic defensive performance against West Ham. There was a very, very questionable penalty. It actually wasn't even questionable. It was never a penalty. There was never any contact. So West Ham goes up 1-0 and kind of changes how the match played out. West Ham only created 0.25 non-penalty expected goals throughout the match. So Arsenal is once again, number one in expected goals allowed, around 0.75 per 90. And the biggest thing in this match, and if you want to bet Brighton in this match, De Zerbi has been very, very aggressive. He's obviously plays a very similar style to Potter, but the counter pressing, the way they possess the ball, it's very, very aggressive trying to move the ball up the pitch, which would concern me with losing the ball to a good pressing team like Arsenal. Now, Brighton has been running pretty hot offensively. Like their last 6 matches, they're 12 goals of a 5.6 expected. Against Southampton, they scored 3 goals. I understand one was an own goal, but only off of 0.6 expected. And the flip side of that coin is, though, Brighton has been very, very good defensively. Like they're a 0.91 non-penalty expected goal allowed per 90. They're third in big scoring chances allowed, expected threat allowed, and touches in the penalty area allowed. So this is an absolutely legit defense that can hold Arsenal in check. Game state truly does matter, though. Like if Brighton's able to score first, then Arsenal has to play more aggressive. The match opens up a little more with how De Zerbi wants to play. But generally, Arsenal, when they do have a lead, they are able to kill games. Like they're only allowing around 1 expected goal per 90 when playing with the lead. So I think I think this is a good match potentially for maybe Arsenal to win 0. What the funny part about this is playing both teams score no. Arsenal has scored in every single Premier League match this season. But again, I think the price is just a little bit too low on this. So I have it projected at minus 106. So I like both teams to score no, plus 125.
Arsenal did look great. I had the distinct pleasure of watching a couple of big tickets from Brentford and West Ham blow leads. But that West Ham game always felt like Arsenal was up 3-1, even though they were down 1-0. So I do tip my cap to Arsenal. I thought they were really good out of the break, and they've been awesome all season. But Brighton are really good. This is a really good team, and they're a big price at home. And like you said, that I made this argument for West Ham last week about just the defense being able to contain Arsenal and kind of turn the game into a coin flip. Well, the same can be applied to Brighton, and Brighton's better than West Ham going forward. So I know the number's not nearly as big, but they're at home. De Zerbi's the best manager in the world. So how can you not back the Seagulls here? It's just a bloated price on Arsenal. Anthony, your boys.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, I think if you follow me in the app, I actually bet this game before Arsenal and Brighton even played on Boxing Day because I thought that number was wrong. And I was waiting for the right spot to fade Arsenal. I thought that the Hammers weren't a great matchup. Arsenal has dominated that. And I didn't think the Hammers would do enough to disrupt Arsenal's possession, and it ended up being the case. I mean, they just gave Odegaard way too much time on the ball, and he eventually destroyed them. Even though, the first goal comes off of like a fluke, Arsenal was clearly the better team and deserved to win and dominated the possession and the chances. I disagree on the penalty. I did think it was a penalty.
It was not. He never made contact.
It's a classic example.
He never made contact.
Players get normally not rewarded when they don't dive. If he just goes over after the first contact, everybody says, oh yeah, he clipped him, penalty. But because he tried to stay up, it makes it look like it was less contact. But yeah, it doesn't matter. Deserved win for Arsenal. But I do think if you go back, the first half of that game did show kind of the impact of not having Gabriel Jesus and how he is so much better at linking the play and coming short and connecting than Nketiah is. Nketiah is much more of a poacher type striker than he is a passer. And so I think you get less build up ability there. And I think Brighton can do a much better job of kind of disrupting Odegaard and disrupting the time on the ball for the midfield players of Arsenal. Arsenal's third in expected threat differential. It's pretty impressive. Second is Liverpool. First, of course, is City. You'd think they dominate that. But Brighton's fourth. They're right behind them. So they've been just as dominant in tilting the field on their opponents and being competitive. And the Gunners have only been about a half goal better than Brighton this season. So, you factor in the home field advantage that's come with the Prem, and it's been the strongest home field advantage in the last decade across the league. Brighton is clearly undervalued here, in my view. The one thing that does concern me, Arsenal really good on set pieces. They're one of the best teams. They've created the most expected goals off of set pieces. Brighton has struggled in the last, 4 months on set pieces. And really since Potter left, it's gone down a little bit. So that's been a vulnerability for them. But I still like to be the Seagulls at home. I like the Bees later too, but I like the Seagulls at home.
It's hard
Against a Big
to
Six team, and it's
distinguish
something we
those two
do
guys.
as tradition.